This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
The government is stepping up its efforts to combat crime, with the Ministry of National Security and Urban Renewal Commission set to launch a household survey in New Providence, which will take into account the living conditions, crime, social behavior, household circumstances, employment, education, and persons with special needs.
Phase 1 of the survey will commence in the high-crime inner-city communities of Angliston, Bain and Grantstown, and Centerville. It is set to be completed in 6 to 8 weeks before being expanded. Now, the Minister of National Security, the Honorable Dr. Bernard Nottage, explains why these areas have been chosen.
These areas were chosen based on their population density, perceived living conditions, and the crime statistics for 2013. Those statistics clearly demonstrated that there were more murders committed in these three areas than in any other area of New Providence.
Nottage adds that social workers, officers of the Royal Bahamas Police and Defense Force, and trusted persons in the community will collect the data. While participation is not mandatory, Nottage says they are asking for the public's full cooperation, as data collected will be used to inform public policy.
We are seeking to gather information so that the government's interventions are focused and meet the real needs of individuals and households in the communities. People often suggest that, oh, we already know, or the government already knows what problems are in their communities. The truth of the matter is that while we have interacted with persons in the communities, and many of us have come from these communities ourselves, and can give an overview of the major concerns, what we are now seeking to do is to collect accurate data and have it properly analyzed so that we can more effectively utilize the resources that are available to the government in targeting issues facing these communities and informing public policy.
During a brief session of the House of Assembly this morning, the opposition attempted to table an amendment to the Constitution on capital punishment.
But their efforts were stopped, as Carla Palmer explains in this report.
House Speaker the Honorable Dr. Kendall Major says had opposition leader the Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis followed proper protocol, he may have had his wish fulfilled in having the House go back on first reading of a bill on capital punishment.
That the chair won't allow it at this time. There's clearly the rules will determine that notice should be given, and the chair did not receive notice of that.
Speaker, I appreciate what you said, but when would we be able to table such a bill? We have amendment to the Constitution. We play with crime, murders, and we have amended the Constitution so that capital punishment can be instituted.
I think the first question I'll ask is, did you have a converse with the House leader, with the member for Bain and Grantstown?
After conceding that he did not give prior notice to the House, Dr. Minnis proceeded to do just that.
I give notice to the government business leader in the House that at the next sitting, I would ask that they unanimously consent to go back to the first reading so that I can table this bill in Parliament to deal with capital punishment and hanging.
With his efforts in the House cut short, Dr. Minnis and his team retreated to the Minority Room of Parliament for a press conference to further discuss the issue. Dr. Minnis feels the government is hindering the opposition in its efforts. However, Government Leader of Business in the House, the Honorable Dr. Bernard Nottage, says otherwise.
We have great concerns as to why Parliament was so short this morning. We feel that that is a part of government's plan to block the opposition from bringing forth their bill.
Parliament is a place of rules and processes, okay? And you know, there has to be some kind of honor system. If you say you want to table a bill, I should see the bill and know what the bill is about. And if you're not prepared to do that, obviously I can't render a proper opinion. That still doesn't prevent him from tabling it if he wished to do so at the appropriate time.
At the end of the day, both sides agree that a solution must be found to the problem of crime. I'm Carla Palmer for ZNS Network News.
The government is focused on rebranding the country, and Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, the Honorable Dr. Daniel Johnson, says the plan has three components. At the top of his list, facilities upgrades, as the country is striving to be #1 in the region in youth affairs, sports tourism, and cultural tourism. Noting that they're building bridges to move the country forward, Johnson said it'll be done by building world-class facilities associated with the best people in the business and through maintaining and sustaining what we have. He added that culture is another significant component.
The great political dilemma of the 21st century is not all these things out there, Star Wars and this war and the other and terrorism, this. No. Everybody have this desire to be middle class. The Bahamas has been a successful country because we're the most successful country in the Caribbean. We're the jewel of the Caribbean. We're the envy of the region because we built a stable middle class. So the question for us is, can we sustain the culture that we have attained? And so I come to the greatest part of my portfolio, really, which is culture. And what is culture to you? What's culture to you, Madam President?
Coming up in Family Island News, the Prime Minister says a major boom expected on Bimini. Here are his forecasts.
And then in total sports, a women's powerhouse defends the court. Get all the highlights coming up. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.